Hello, Billy Ho here, coming at you with a British Open Championship DFS show. We're going to be covering DraftKings pricing. I've got my pal here, David, the DFS chef, who's going to join me to break down pricing. We're going to pick some players, look at some ownership early on, and try to kind of cobble through this new pricing that DraftKings has laid upon us. So I'll introduce my man, David. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good, looking forward to the major, enjoying the pricing, something that we haven't seen other than the Tour Championship in years past. So it's definitely going to make the lineup building very interesting.
Yeah, we got basically the Tour Championship with now 150 golfers instead of so a little difference. Yeah, like at the end of the bottom of the pricing in the Tour Championship, if you're not familiar, you have 5K players. Well, now we have the same, and we've got a whole bunch of them to go over. So we're playing at Royal Liverpool, and we are going to get into this pricing right now. All right. So first things first, we're looking at some early projected ownerships, and I'm not going to read too much into this because people are probably just now starting to figure out what the hell they want to do with the new pricing. Scotty Scheffler leads us off at 12,500. Rory's 11.9, Rahm 11.2. And then you still have 1, 2, 3, 4 more guys in the 10K range. And then you get down into the 9Ks where we have a pretty decent amount of golfers. And what we're going to start with is probably 9,500 and up. But I think our main focus will be maybe just this tippy top tier and see how you're building your lineups, Dave. And just give us a brief rundown on what you're looking at, and we'll go over to your stat model and see what we got going on.
Yeah, obviously I always try and read as many articles, watch as many pods as possible, and everyone knows that Rick Gehman is my guru of DFS golf. He has been. He's the one that got me into it. So I always, pay attention to his regression model. And the weird thing that I looked at this week was the fact that his regression model had such an emphasis on driving distance, which, from the other articles I've read, and then even, Andy Lack, who does his write-up for him on his website, it seems to me like a lot of other people are putting more of an emphasis on accuracy, or if you want to use good drive percentage instead of driving accuracy, whichever one you wanted to, preface. I'm kind of in agreement with that I think that, 2006 when Tiger won here, 2014 when Rory won here, it seems like they clubbed down and they were focusing more on the accuracy. The 2-iron is going to be a popular club this week, especially for Rory. He's already said the 5-wood's probably staying, not coming out this week. He's putting the 2-iron in instead of the 5-iron. That's what he used a lot back in 2014 when he won here. So I'm going to say that accuracy or good drive percentage is going to be something I'm going to key on more. Now on my model, I did it equally. I put 10 on driving distance, 10 on good drive percentage, as well as I put 10 on strokes gained off the tee. Obviously, approach is going to be it's always one of the top when you're doing your models. Around the green, scrambling is going to be important this week. Obviously I have strokes gained putting in there. Again, it's not on my model, but something that you might want to look at could be approach putt performance is what Rick talks about, which is basically lag putting. On my model, the closest that I would have would be 3-putt avoidance if you wanted to use that.
Yeah.
Birdie or better percentage, of course, because that's where we're getting our DK points. Sand save percentage, because they do have those pot bunkers literally like right off fairways, especially where a lot of guys are going to be hitting the landing areas. So if you wind up in the pot bunkers, I've already read several, quotes from golfers. You wind up in the pot bunker, it's pretty much like a stroke penalty. So that's why it's going to be important. It's going to be important to, either club down and land short of the pot bunkers, or like guys like Bryson and Rahm and so forth. Maybe they're going to try and go over the pot bunkers. And then that's why I have sand save percentage. And then, like I've mentioned, I've started using the birdie to bogey ratio quite often. I believe Tiger won at 18 under and Rory won at 17 under. But the course has gone through a renovation since Rory won back in 2014. So it's going to play a little bit different. Obviously, guys that have played back in 2014 will feel somewhat comfortable versus guys that are making, their debut here. So, leading us into these guys that are 9,500 and above, obviously, again, Scheffler's priced fair at 12.5, and it's going to come down. Do you want to go 12.5? Do you want to save a couple $100 and go to Rory? Rory obviously coming off a win last week and has won here before, which was his last major that he won back in 2014. So the stars are possibly aligning for Rory to finally win another major, in almost 10 years. So I'm definitely going to have ownership on those two top dogs. I do like Rahm. He's grading out second in my model. Now, recent form, not the greatest. He missed the cut at the Travelers, but a guy like Rahm, I think, can turn it on, like that. So I think taking off last week might have been beneficial for him to get a little rest, maybe focus in more mentally for this week. So he's going to be someone I'm looking at. I've heard people mentioning Cam Smith this week, and I know he's the defending champion, but that was at a different course. Fairways were vast. I mean, they almost,
Oh yeah.
last year when he won, they had like double fairways. This is
Yes.
completely different. And the one thing we know about Cam Smith is he can spray it. And if he sprays it and he winds up, and several holes have out of bounds, literally like only like 10 yards off the
Oh
fairway.
yeah,
So
it's right there. I forget which one Kenny Kim mentioned, but he had a picture
yeah,
of it, and it looks like it's 4 yards off the fairway. The
exactly.
white line is drawn because there's like a rock wall or something or a fence or something like right there, but they got that white line right there, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I probably will be completely fading Cam Smith. I think for me, of the 10K plot guys, like I said, I'll probably have, some ownership on the three top. And then it would be going down to like Xander and Hovland. I'm probably going to fade Cam and Brooks this week. I know Brooks is the major killer, the major hunter, but I think I'm going to be probably off of Brooks this week. And then when we get into the, 995 and up, I can tell you that last week, as far as from a DFS perspective, I was overweight on Cantlay and I was overweight on Fitzpatrick, and they both missed the cut. So,
Same here, brother.
um, so do you go right back to them and just forget about it? Cantlay, again, I mean, he's gotten a little bit better in majors, but he still has that stigma of he can't get it done in majors. And at 9,900, I'd rather just find the extra 100 or the extra 200 to go to Hovland or to Xander, who to me are, much more proven. And granted, like Hovland's still a kid, but he's got that, hunter mentality like Brooks does. So for me, I'd rather find that extra money. Ricky's been playing great golf, grading out third in my model, but I'm on the fence right now with Ricky. I'm probably going to be off of Ricky. Spieth, when you look at his Open Championship history, is amazing, but I think he's missed like 4 of his last 6 cuts. Another guy just like Cam, if he misses, he's gonna be hurting because he sprays the ball off the tee. So I'm probably fading Spieth this week. Morikawa seems to have found something again, so I'm probably going to be with Morikawa. And then Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick might be the guy that I go back to this week, but as of right now, definitely on the fence with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I'll jump off that Fitzpatrick thing. Is I just happened to cross the tweet that somebody reposted of a quote from him saying that he either he's sandbagging or he's just, I don't know, but the statement was kind of just to the effect of the Open Championship's not my best tournament. These venues, I'm kind of just shooting for a top 20 kind of thing. He really downplayed that his ability to perform in these types of events. So I don't know, because it's, they're equating a lot of Florida comps to like playing out here, and Fitz is great in Florida. So I'm not 100% sold on what he was saying. But going back to what you said about the course layout, I'm actually I was right with you on the driving accuracy and everything like that. But then there's rain in the forecast Wednesday night. I think they might get a quarter of an inch or more. So we need to keep an eye on that. And if the course is soft and there's going to be more rain, I think Thursday is going to be the only dry day as far as what I can see now. And now things can change very rapidly on these coastline, United Kingdom areas. So it's really kind of a crapshoot when it comes to that. But if the course is softer, distance will come into play more because there'll be less run out. And then that way, because these bombers off the tee, you could dial it back like Tiger did and like Rory did on several occasions when it's firm and fast and it's real dry. Because if you see them old videos, you can go back on YouTube and watch it. How far you could just whack a freaking 4-iron out there, and the ball's going to run farther than it flies through the air because it's so dry and so crunchy. It's brown, that kind of thing. But with the rain, it's going to be different. You're going to be able to, stick the ball. The greens are really big also. So you're going to be able to fire into these pins. But like you said, going over to Rick's model, when you mentioned it, I'm glad you did, because I had another model. I must have forgot to save it. But this one was I added putting in on this one. But I did like just a 10 to 15 feet for birdies, and then a little bit on the slow greens. But bonus putting is one. That's putts made from 20 plus and putts from 5 feet or closer. So that goes into your approach putt performance. So you get the approach putt performance, which is, how close you get it after the first putt to the hole. And then the bonus putting adds in that, are you 3-putt avoidance? So that was in there. And there was a few guys that came up that we'll get to in a little bit. I don't want to dip down too early. But my take on the top level guys are I kind of want a little bit of both of these guys, because I just can't. Scotty is just a machine. He's a top 5 machine. So it feels like he's not going to disappoint. And one of these days he's going to make putts. I saw him miss a few birdie putts, and I didn't get to see as much of the Scottish Open as I did. But the ball striking has been there all year long. You can see by his stats that he's almost a half a stroke putting down. But everything else, he's just fantasy points gained, and he's negative in the putting, and he's gaining that much in fantasy points. Now, Rory is the other one. Rory has actually kind of straightened his putter out. And since he kind of got off that schneid with the whole live thing and him being the ambassador and taking up too much of his time, missing the cut at the Masters, he has just been dynamite. And that's why I got this golf betting system up here, because it'll give you like their last 12 events, and they give you almost a complete open history. So dialing back. So Rory, of course, won in 2014 at the same venue, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 top 5 since then. So, but look at these. You're talking about Scotty running them off. Rory's running them off too. He's only about a position or two worse. And then he got the win. So those two guys far and above. I know we're going to get some relief with John Rahm, and he should show up, but he's got 1 top 5 in all of these majors, missed cut, but a lot of them are middling results. So I really have a hard time. I'm going to struggle with Rahm this week, because I do usually like playing him. But a guy like Brooks has got some really nice top 10 finishes. And I used to think that Brooks wasn't quite built for this type of venue, but he's proven me wrong over the years. He did miss the cut last year, but I think that he's going to take to this cut, or he's going to take to this course quite well. I think he hits it really straight off the tee, and so he's going to be able to get it out there, I think, as well. So I'm probably going to have, and I am struggling with Cam Smith, because it's not like the guy, I know he does tend to spray it, but it's not like he perpetually sprays it all the time. He actually can hit the ball straight, and he can club down with the next guy. So he's not exactly short off the tee. So I'm still waffling on him. Ownership's going to dictate a lot of this up top. But down here a little bit more, I was in the same boat with you on Cantlay and Fitzy. I think I might be more inclined to go back to Cantlay than Fitzy, because I think Cantlay's a little bit better off the tee. Fitzy does have the length now, but I think Cantlay's been a little bit more steady as far as the ball striking, and he's great around the green. He can play out of the sand. Of course, they both have all those tools. I tried Spieth last week, and he was another guy that failed. But he seems like a guy, if he could actually drive the ball straight, he might. But his 2014 result wasn't all that. So hovering right around in here, leading into the excuse me, the 9,400, probably go down to the mid eights somewhere in here. And if you got a guy, like, we'll go down to 8,200 because I want to talk a little Tony before we get to it. So Hatton and Fleetwood, both of those guys, I think are ready. I posted in the Discord that I kind of did this regression with my custom model, where Fleetwood was not, like, he's ninth in this model over the last 44 rounds, and I'm not sure. I hope it'll do it. And but I went all the way to most recent 12 and see if it resets it. Yeah. See, he jumps all the way up to fourth. So he's kind of progressing toward a really good finish. And just first inclination, I am kind of an AM PM because, like I said, with the rain in the forecast and dry all day Thursday, I think I might be now there's no break in between tee times. They just tee off and go straight through. But the earlier guys, the better for me, just right now. So I'm got my eye on that. And the ownership over here, I'm not 100 on with I'm going to wait a little bit because this is all going to start, because people, like I said, people are just figuring out. I think it's more accurate up top, but I think this is going to alter a little bit. But the foreigners, if you want to call them that, the Euro veterans like Fitzy, Hatton, Fleetwood, Lowry. I really like Lowry this week, even though he didn't strike it all that great at the Renaissance. But he finished T12 because he's gained like 7 strokes putting. And that's my problem with Lowry, is he usually doesn't make enough putts. So if he's warming up with the putter, I'll forgive the bad approach week, because that was maybe the first time he had played at Renaissance. Cam Young and down to Decky, I've heard a lot of chatter on him. And all these guys in here, Homa Burns, these guys are kind of I'm out on JT, but I'm probably going to play Wyndham Clark, bomb and putt. Bryson, I have a lot of interest in this week. Finally, I think he, even though he used to be like big beefy Bryson, he would just whack it anywhere. Well, he's dialed it back. He's gained, and in the 2 majors he's played, he's gained a total of like 8 strokes off the tee. So I'm down with Bryson. He's good around the greens. He can putt. And the irons aren't too awful bad. So I think he can get it done on this golf course. And the last one I want to talk about before I kick it over to you, Dave, is Tony Finau. He is approach putt. He's like top 10 or like 8th or something like that in approach putting. So that's been a big problem for him, putting in general, over probably 3 out of his last 5 events after he won in Mexico. And the ball striking has been down a little bit too, but he's been off since he missed the cut at Rocket Mortgage defending the title. So I think he's probably reset himself. So I'm going to take him more back toward his baseline than his recent form. So I'm going to definitely have me some Tony Finau this week. All right. So that whole range is yours, Dave. And then you can lead us into down in the mid 8s.
Yep. I'm with you on most of these names. And people that obviously follow me in Discord or have watched our videos or even past videos way back in the day, I've always said that I can't stand playing Fleetwood when he's like 8,500 and up. However, we're back. This is his neck of the woods. Again, for GPPs, I don't know if I'm crazy about using Fleetwood in GPPs, but for cash, I definitely don't mind starting your lineups for cash, going like Hatton and Fleetwood in cash, and then going from there. Um, with the pricing as soft as it is, you can honestly get four 9K guys in your lineups this week if
Good.
you wanted to. If you didn't want to go 10K plus, you could easily get four 9Ks in your builds this week, which is definitely a thought because I do like Lowry. My favorite live guy this week is Dustin Johnson, just like Rick. I know Rick said the same thing. Um, you're getting a substantial discount, from the Brooks price to DJ. Um, Now Brooks, obviously, like I said, major hunter, major killer, but DJ can get it done, and DJ actually has looked pretty good of late. Solid showing at the U.S. Open, wasn't great at the PGA Championship, but since then has really seemed to have raised his game up a little bit. So DJ is someone that I would like in GPPs, where those other three, Hatton, Fleetwood, Lowry, I think could be solid cash game plays. Um, Wyndham Clark, obviously someone I'm going to look at. Big bomber, great putter. Not to mention, I've made it mentioned before. Valor Christian High School alum. Uh, we used to do our food truck at all their football games, so
Really?
I got to give some props to the Valor Christian alum, as well as he was at the school when McCaffrey was there, Christian McCaffrey. So all the McCaffrey boys went there. Um, Sam Burns, I think, is someone I'm going to look at. Homa, I was looking at. Now, granted, like we said, this is kind of first look ownership projections. Um, I like the fact that Burns is showing lower projected ownership than Homa. And I think Burns seems to have found something a little bit more than what Homa has. So I think I would prefer going to Burns than I would to Homa. Finau, you see the ownership projection. I think he's gonna be that third man into a lot of lineups this week, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. He's got solid history at the Open. Recent form a bit shaky, but again, he's taken a little bit of time off, maybe to kind of just regenerate. Have a little rest, and I think maybe that's going to be beneficial to him. So Finau's definitely someone I'm looking at. And then we dip down into this next range. I really like Tom Kim. Again, not the longest off the tee. He's long enough, but he's accurate. He hits the greens. The putter, he can putt. We've seen it. We've seen him. We've seen
He
him
get
go
hot.
crazy. We've seen him go crazy with the putter, and then we've also seen him have some struggles with the putter. But his approach play has been fantastic. I think he's really good with the irons. So Tom Kim's going to be looking. I'm going to be looking at some Tom Kim. The ownership projection from Kim to Finau is not substantial, so it's not like you're gaining a ton of leverage if you wanted to pivot off of the higher projected ownership. But I don't think it's high enough to do that. But I still think that Tom Kim is someone I'm going to look at. Corey Connors, great ball striker. We know he can't putt, but he's gotten better. He's gotten better with the putter recently. So I think Connors is going to be someone that you can look at for cash game plays. And I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Connors was one of Kenny's cash game cornerstones anyway. So, and then Minwoo would be the pivot off of Connors. We can see the projected ownership is like 3 times as more for Connors. Minwoo's sneakily is kind of that baby major hunter. He hasn't won one yet, but he's got some solid showings at a lot of majors. So Minwoo's going to be someone I'm looking at. Patrick Reed's ownership is already showing pretty high projections, but rightfully so. Reed gets it done. We know how good he is around the green. We know how good he is with the putter. Surprisingly, this can't be right.
Well, I was
Joaquin
just looking
Neiman
at the same thing. Go ahead.
Joaquin Neiman's ownership at sub 1%, that
Yeah.
can't be right, because if that is accurate, I will gladly pivot off of Reed to get that leverage with Neiman. I know Neiman hasn't been great, of late. He's even missed the cut at some of the events where the live guys first started coming back in, and he didn't look great. And I think it was at the U.S. Open at LACC, he didn't really perform that well. He made the cut Well, actually, it was 32nd at the U.S. Open. I think I might be thinking of either the PGA Championship or the Masters, where he was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, he
But
missed the cut because I played him.
yeah, but
Might be here.
if that's gonna be accurate, which again I don't think it is, I think
No,
Neiman's gonna
I think
probably
it
be
says like 3.5% here, but still,
yeah. But that still gets you leverage if you wanted to take that leverage off of Connors or Reed. So I
yeah.
might be starting to look at Neiman and kick it over to you.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you there, but I was thinking when I was looking at this, you said Neiman, and I was looking at Keegan. I was like 13% in this range. I know Keegan's been really good this year, but his major record's not really great at all. I mean, he's missed the last three cuts in majors, 79th. His best finish is 15th. And I guess maybe that's what people are looking at because I think that's nope, that's not even the same venue. So, he did get 19th, I guess, here 10 years ago. Maybe that's, you know, but I mean, you can't, that's 10 years ago. Come on. But this little range right here might go overlooked. That's probably why these guys are so low. Like you said, Finau is going to be your third man in, and you're probably not going to have the salary to make one of these higher 7K guys your fourth guy, unless, like you said, you dip down to start in the 9Ks or the low tens, maybe.
Yeah.
But guys like Brian Harmon, uh, showing up now, and I know he's distance challenged, but like you said, accuracy and long irons. I mean, he can just with big greens, he can just hit fairways and greens all day, and with his putting skills, he could just trip and stumble his way to making the cut. So I'm sure he's probably going to have some ownership. It says five, but after that, after his recent form, he's got three straight top. He's got a second and then a top 12, a ninth. I mean, he's going to get some ownership. Denny's been talked about, but Denny's a debutante in this event altogether. Siwoo, people have been talking up a little bit. I'm not there yet, but the guy can play. He gets hot with the irons. He can roll it. Now, I don't know if I'm there yet, but I know Shank's got some distance to him, and he's decently accurate. But what I like to look at over here is the distance, accuracy, and greens and regulation percentage. But the greens are pretty large, so that's going to be somewhat negated. So sometimes I like to look at the fantasy points gain projections, like Denny's way up there. See Shank is way up there. So I might even give Shank some opportunity here. I wanted to see what his record was going back. So he's new too. Okay. But, maybe he just because it's your first time out doesn't mean that you're completely unfamiliar with how things work. Gary Woodland looks like a really good play down here, and I think he'll go sub 10%. He's just been striking it brilliantly lately, really. And his around the green game can kill him sometimes, though. He sometimes puts his foot in his butt doing that. But you got a whole bunch of guys here, and I wanted to bring up Benny On because he got in the field with the T3, and this dude mashes it off the tee. You can see he's got Rory McIlroy distance just about, and he's been destroying people off the tee, ball striking wise and everything, and actually been a little bit closer to even on the putting. He has had just a complete resurgence. And by the way, let's see, where's he at? Oh, is he not even on here? Oh, he might be at the bottom because they didn't price him. So now I got to go all the way down here. Yep. He's got a couple of finishes. I was thinking he had more experience than that, but he does have two made cuts. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of guys in this top 6K range. Langask is a guy that's been brought up like he's a sleeper. Now he might go sub 2%. He might be interesting. But I do tend Bobby McIntyre. You got to give him a look with the distance off the tee, and just the way he played last week has been amazing. And he's got a good Open Championship record. Bjork is another one that is really playing well. Griot I like. He's got pretty good finishes in majors. Victor Perez is another one I'll be looking at. And I'm just going to kind of be tossing out names here because we're kind of running a little short on time. And I wanted to give Dave one more look down here. But I mean, there's names down here. You got Detry, Hoagie, KH Lee, and I think there's a few in the I'm going to throw out a couple of names. I played Rosner last week. He can hit it. Valimaki, I played him last week. He made the cut. And I think the one everybody was mentioning was Southgate, Matthew Southgate, way down here at 5,600. But none of these guys are going to be even 1% owned probably, because most people are going to just get sticker shock when they look down there at that 5K range and be like, no way. So that's why I think this ownership up here, I'll wait till late tomorrow to finalize lineups, because I think it's going to shake out really good once you start giving people the opportunity to build lineups and actually commit to them. So finish us off here, Dave.
I'll just quickly run down names in that lower 7K range that I like. Henley, Ryan Fox, Harmon, McCarthy, even though it's his first time playing here, he's another guy that has performed really well at the big events. So I don't mind playing some Denny this week, and we know he's probably the best putter in the field. Nick Taylor is someone that I might look at. You already mentioned Benny On. The only thing that concerns me about Benny On is versus last week versus this week is he's not the most accurate off the tee, but he's probably someone I'm still going to take a chance on at 7K flat. We got McIntyre, who's obviously, you can already see the ownership projection. So the pivot for me is Jordan Smith. Solid performance last week, and he's an outstanding ball striker. So he's going to be someone that I'll play in GPPs to get leverage off of that McIntyre ownership. Thorborn Olesen is someone that I'll probably go back to this week. You already mentioned Victor Perez. Don't mind Andrew Putnam. Andrew Putnam, we know the guy can, putt, and not the longest, but he should be finding fairways. So I'll be looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yannick Paul is someone that I possibly won't mind going back to, and he's showing sub 1%. Detry to me seems very mispriced, but you can see the ownership is showing that. I think that's someone that people are already have looked at and said he's mispriced.
Mm-hmm.
Luton, I do like Youth Luton this week. He's someone that I think should be a cut maker. You see the ownership projections already on Hillier and Ewan Ferguson. Those are two guys that I don't mind possibly going to at 6,100. Matt Wallace, someone I usually don't play that often, but maybe I might have a sprinkle at 6K flat, but I do like guys over him that are priced less. Richie Ramsey at 5,900 is someone I probably will go back to this week. I did have some ownership with Ramsey. And then possibly Marcel Ciem, the Frenchman, is someone that I might look at.
I like him. Yeah.
The last guy I'll mention, I did play him last week, and I know he was sub 1%. I actually played two guys that were 6,400 last week, and both of them made the cut. They were kind of my sneaky plays. That was Connor Simi, who decided to fall apart Saturday and Sunday. But the other guy that I played was Bradbury last week, who also did the same thing. They both made the cut, and then both of them just absolutely collapsed over the weekend. But Bradbury at 5,700, I might possibly take a shot on.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you there, because Valimaki I was really fired up about going into the weekend. And he shot 78 or 76 on Saturday, and that just blew me out of the water. So I thought I had a really decent lineup with him in it. I think it was one of my few 5 of 6s. But anyway, thanks for joining me, Dave. I appreciate it. We got a lot done today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got some sort of feel for how to build lineups this week. I think that it's going to be challenging, but I think it's going to be rewarding for those who put the work in. So that's why we're here. We do a lot of the work. So you'd say